Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today for Move Your Listings Fast, Strategies to Help Sellers Succeed in 2025. My name is Tiffany, and I'm the SVP of Partnerships here at HouseAmp. And today I've got Jamie here helping me out. She's on my team. And then we've got Celeste with Boss Cat that's going to give us a little bit of information later on. So let's go ahead and get started. So as you all know, the market has shifted. If you've been in the business for quite some time, you'll know that, this always happens. There's ups, there's downs, there's, times that are slow. There's times that are really, really booming. And right now it's a little bit slow. So the average days on market right now is 51 days, which is up 6 days year over year. So homes are definitely sitting on the market much longer than we're used to. There has been an inventory surge. So inventory is up 31.5% year over year. That's a huge increase. And if you've been around for the last few years, I remember everybody complaining that there wasn't any inventory. That's not the case anymore. So inventory has gone up considerably. And then buyer behavior has really changed. They've gotten much more selective, much more cautious, much more likely to cancel a transaction. So let's talk about the next slide. Why homes are sitting. So there's a few reasons, and the graph that we have here talks about canceled contracts. So 15% of contracts fell through in June, the highest level for this time of year on record. So what we're seeing is that during the inspection period, people are walking away if they see an issue or they're still shopping. They're out there looking at other properties while they're under contract during the inspection period so they can cancel. So that's something that we really need to be aware of, right? When you put a property on the market, if there's anything that might come up during the inspection period, that's going to be a reason for people to cancel, right? Or a reason for them to look elsewhere if it's not fully market ready. So mortgage rates, as we know, remain stuck in the upper mid 6%. And some buyers are hoping for a rate drop. So they're just kind of on the sidelines waiting to see what's going to happen. And then in some cases, these people are just more cautious because of economic uncertainty, right? So if they're shopping and they don't see anything that really blows their mind, they might just wait a little bit, see what's going to happen with rates and with the economics, uncertainty that we're all experiencing right now. So a lot of different factors causing buyers to cancel contracts. So there's also been a drop in the number of first-time home buyers. So because of affordability, there just aren't as many home buyers out there that are able to afford these properties. The other part of this too is that when they do get qualified to buy their first home, a lot of times they're at their max that they can afford. So they're not able to put any money into the property, right? So in 2024, over 1.1 million Americans became first-time homeowners, the lowest number since tracking began in 1989. So every time you have a home buyer come into your listing, they're very precious, right? So let's talk about affordability. Mortgage rates are over 6.5%, nearly double what they were 5 years ago. So entry-level home ownership now costs twice as much as renting, which is a reversal since 2006. So another reason that you got to keep this in mind while you're working with homeowners to get their homes sold. All right. So what are buyers looking for, right? How are we going to get these listings sold? That's what we're here to talk about today. So we're going to do a quick poll. I'm going to let Jamie take over. And basically, let me go to the polls here. So we want to just find out what you guys think. What do you think buyers today consider a home dated after how many years? So we're going to go ahead and put this poll up. All right. Let's see here. Lots of votes. Oh, okay. So the votes are coming in. Give you guys a couple seconds here to get your votes in there. Tell us what you think buyers today consider a home to be dated after how many years? All right. So our number one answer so far is 15 years. So 15 years. So let's go ahead and pop up that stat. How come I'm not popping up? Are you popping up the stat or am I popping up?
Yep, I just did. It should be on their screen.
I don't get to see it. So it's actually 7 years. So the buyers today consider a home dated after just 7 years. So I want you to think about that every time you go into a listing presentation. I don't know about you guys, but I bought my house about 7 years ago as a new build. And if I were going to sell it, nobody wants my 12-inch square tiles. Well, they're not 12. I think they're 24. I'm not good with measurements. But anyway, nobody wants my square tiles. And I've been told that nobody wants my granite countertops. So I'll ask you about that later because you're the expert in that area. But, you know, times change quickly now. People don't want anything that's dated. And after 7 years, they consider it dated. So I want you guys to be aware of that when you're going into these listings. So let's talk about the next question, next poll. What percentage of home buyers are looking for move-in ready homes? What do you guys think? If you were to think about the last buyer you had, how much did they want a property that they could move in and not have to do any updates, any renovations? Everything was already done for them. All right, our top vote on this one, coming in hot, 60% of you said 94%. So let's pop that stat up, 94%. Yeah, so you guys got your pulse on the buyer market here. Everybody, for the most part, wants a move-in ready home. So they want to walk in, they want it to look like a model. Everything's done, updated, everything. So 94% of your buyers. The other 6% are probably looking for a deal, right? So pretty much all your buyers, they're like we said earlier, they're at the top of their price point. They don't have the money to do any kind of renovations, upgrades, anything like that. So when they're out shopping and they've got all these options, they're definitely going to choose the one that's move-in ready. All right. And then our last question, updated homes sell how much faster? So I'm sure you've all seen statistics around things like staging and different things like that. But what would you say is the percentage that updated homes sell faster than not updated homes? And we've already really, you know, hammered home that this that this is the case. So you guys might be a little skewed on that one. So the votes are coming in. It looks like most of you said 89%, which is close. 73% of or faster. So if you have an updated home, it's going to sell 73% faster than a home that has not been updated. So absolutely, this is critical, especially, and that's really why we keep going over this, is that it's really critical to have these homes updated and ready to go as soon as they hit the market, you know, on anything falling out of inspection. So as we talk about the power of pre-sale renovations, what are some of the most common improvements? As you all probably experience, paint, you know, definitely going to be the easiest and fastest way to, you know, get the home sale ready. But renovations help close the gap between perception and reality, right? So this is what's going to make older homes or dated homes feel fresh and modern. And it's really going to give that wow factor when the buyers walk in to be able to say, yeah, this is it. I'm not going to keep shopping. This is the one. There's not going to be anything better out there for me. So as you can see, all these different things, exterior paint down there as well, landscaping. So inside the home, outside the home, all of that very important to prospective buyers. So how is HouseAmp here to help? We're going to help your sellers tap into their equity, right? So I'm sure that when you're at a listing presentation, you're talking to your sellers about what they need to do to get this house market ready. The one thing that probably holds them back a lot of the times is they don't want to come out of pocket, right? They don't want to dip into the, you know, to their stock portfolio. They don't want to pull money from here or there. They really would rather just pay for it at closing. So that's what this product does. So after 3 straight quarters of declines, home equity made a comeback in Q2 this year. Okay, so 47.4% of mortgage residential properties were equity rich. So people are sitting on a ton of equity, and they need to be able to tap into it. So equity-rich homeowners have the means to make a move, even in this high-rate environment, high-price environment. So what HouseAmp does is we allow sellers to tap into that equity. They don't have to make payments. We have two different programs, but between 6 and 12 months, there's no payments, depending on what product they use. And that way they can go ahead and get all this taken care of and then pay for it at closing. All right, so let's talk about a couple of case studies. This is actually one, I'll let you guys read the details, but what I love is the visuals, the before and after. So if you're looking at showing this property to a prospective homeowner, they're going to walk in, they're going to be kind of about it, right? In the first photo. In the second photo, it's alive, it's a home, right? So this is what you're looking for. You're looking for this instant experience of saying, wow, this is really beautiful, right? So what this did is they put in a little bit of money, they did some renovation, it was under contract within a day, and they had a great profit, right? So that's what we're looking for. We're looking to help our sellers sell for more and sell faster. So then let's look at some Boss Cat examples. This is exciting because we've got Celeste here. So I want you to think about selling the property on the left and how horrible that would be and what kind of wholesalers you were going to be selling to. And then the property on the right. I mean, it's just a complete transformation. It's absolutely beautiful. And then if we go to the next slide, we can actually see inside the transformation. And this is where it gets really incredible. So this one, as is, probably would have sold for about $240, right? They put $106,000 and they sold it for $525. Like an absolute, just gorgeous, complete renovation, right? So Boss Cat does all kinds of different projects, but this is just a really great visual representation of what they can do. So let's go ahead and let Celeste chime in and tell us a little bit more.
Hello, everyone. I'm Celeste Qureshi. I'm the Senior Vice President of Growth at Boss Cat. We partner with HouseAmp to have our customers and our clients be able to tap into the equity that we mentioned, so that they can have a pay at close transaction, right? I actually am agent, and a good example of a benefit of HouseAmp is that it doesn't hit the credit score, right? And so like my sister is selling her home in DC. Well, guess what she did not do? She did not call me before she financed windows through a traditional financing company. So what that did to her credit score was lower it, and that impacted her ability on her next mortgage, right? Through HouseAmp, this doesn't happen. And so we provide full renovations and repairs in transaction or outside of the transaction. And I do highly recommend, every customer that can tap into that equity to flip their own home and not leave money on the table. I just listed a property. I am an agent on the side. Boss Cat is my primary job, where I'm out talking to real estate agents and brokers all the time about the benefit of utilizing Boss Cat for pre-list renovations, in-transaction repairs, post-transaction repairs and renovations. But I do list properties, from time to time. And I just listed my neighbor's house. And one of the things that Tiffany just mentioned was picky buyers, right? So this is one of my neighbors, my best friends. I listed their house. The house is beautiful. It sits on 3/4 of an acre with a rolling creek. And all the feedback before we listed it, I said, hey guys, can we do something with the basement? Everything was done, the kitchen, the bathrooms, except for the basement. The basement had 1980s paneling, really old ceiling tiles. It really did not match the rest of the home. So they wanted to list at the top of the market. Well, we already know what's happening at the top of the market, right? And we all already know that buyers are picky. All of the feedback that we got was that the house is beautiful, but the basement needs to be completely redone, right? So after then having to reduce to get more eyeballs on it, more feedback saying the basement was still, needed to be redone, we finally, after they had been sitting on the market for over 45 days, went back in and got the basement done. this can have been taken care of in the beginning, and they may have been under contract within the first couple of weeks, in this very competitive market. But as you know, and they don't want to do anything. They just want to move in and enjoy the home. And so, through BossCat and through HouseAmp, your clients are really able to tap into the equity, get the homes ready to be sold for the highest possible price.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Celeste. We really appreciate you being here.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and I want to mention too, we have a Q&A section where you can throw questions up if you guys have questions. And then at the end of the presentation, we will go over some questions and give you answers on anything that you're curious about. So as we have been talking about, what do today's sellers expect, right? They're not just hiring an agent. They're hiring somebody that gets them faster results, higher return on investment, less hassle, and a competitive marketing edge, right? So they want a marketer, a strategist, a project manager. You probably don't want to project manage. That's where BossCat comes in, right? So they come in, they tell the client what needs to be done, what's going to get them the best return on investment, and then they take care of all the construction, right? So if they're not in your area, we do have other service providers that we work with that do that as well. They're all within our platform. So we'll talk a little bit about the platform and how you can access your service providers. But BossCat is definitely, coming in there and making it the easy button for you.
Yep. It is definitely the easy button. And we do provide complimentary free estimates on everything that we do. We offer a 1-year warranty on all of the work that we do. When you hire BossCat, you're hiring BossCat. We have boots on the ground project managers managing the projects from start to finish. And then we do augment our W-2 employees with fully licensed, insured, vetted pros. But you're working with us from the beginning to the end. So you always have one point of contact through your project coordinators, and then you have boots on the ground project managers managing the property from start to finish, with a 1-year warranty and a pay at close through HouseAmp.
There you go. Awesome. So the last thing we're going to talk about before we go into some Q&A stuff and talk a little bit more about the process for you guys to get started, moving your listings, right? That's why we're here. So understanding that these are the reasons that people plan to renovate as buyers, right? So occasionally you might get a buyer that says, I really want this house. It's not move-in ready, but I really want it. Our financing does allow buyers to access this as well. So once they close on the property, they're able to go in and apply, and they're able to get some financing to do some upgrades. So that is an option as well. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any more questions about that. So what I want to do before we move into the Q&A is I just want to talk really quickly about HouseAmp and how this all works together. So we are a platform. We bring together the homeowner with lenders, service providers like BossCat, you as the agent, all in one place. And that way, everything is transparent. You can see when your homeowner applies for the loan, if they get approved, and then you'll be able to see as they're putting in invoices and different things like that with your service providers. So it's a great resource to be able to go in. We have an equity estimator. We had a quick photo of it on one of the other slides that I skimmed over. But basically the equity estimator, we'll talk about that a little bit when we talk about the process, but it's a great tool for you to be able to see if your borrowers might qualify, your homeowners. Also, we have the service providers invoice through the platform. So that way the money is kept within the platform. We know that it's there, right? So instead of sending $50,000 to your homeowner and they have a car breakdown and they end up having to use that, the money is secure for taking care of these renovations, upgrades, whatever needs to be done to the property. It can be used for landscaping. It can be used for moving expenses in some cases, but definitely want to make sure that that money is secured so that it goes for the purpose that it's intended to. You don't want your contractors, going to submit an invoice and the money's no longer there. So let's go ahead and do a little quick Q&A session. Feel free to throw your questions in there. And Molly, Jamie, I'll have you. I have Molly and Jamie on my team and they get called each other's names regularly. So Jamie, I'll have you go ahead and throw some Q&A questions out there.
Yeah, so we did have some that were sent ahead of time, so I will ask those. But so far in the Q&A, someone asked how they can get their sellers started with HouseAmp.
Awesome. I love that question. That's my favorite. So after the Q&A, we're actually going to go through the steps. So basically how you get signed up first as an agent, how you can invite your service pros, and how you can get your homeowners signed up as well. One thing to put out there, there's no cost for you as an agent for this program. So there's no cost to create an account. There's no cost to use the equity estimator, no cost, no liability. So if for some reason the homeowner doesn't pay the loan back, we're not coming after your commission. Okay. So I always like to put that out there just so that you understand this is a free tool for you to use. It's very inexpensive for the homeowner as well, especially for short-term financing. So we definitely want you to go in and create your account, and we'll talk about that after the Q&A.
This one is for Celeste. What kind of feedback have you heard from your real estate partners when they can offer financing and bring in Boss Cat to get their work done?
Oh, we've heard fantastic feedback. Really, they said it's a game changer. So having, the ability to provide financing to their clients, and then also Boss Cat's turnkey service, they can offer sellers a simple, stress-free solution. They're not having to juggle multiple contractors. There's, I know that there are real estate agents and realtors out there that also may be licensed GCs or plumbers, but not very many, right? So this frees up their time so that they can focus on the reason why they got into real estate was helping their clients buy and sell homes. And then for their clients, there's no cash up front, there's no delays. It really does create a seamless experience, not only for the real estate agent, but also for their clients. So it keeps their deals on track. They can deliver a better seller experience, and they can position themselves as a full service agent who can also problem solve. And so, in today's competitive environment, it's all about how you can stand out as a real estate agent and provide those value added services to your clients. And this is one way that you can do that.
Awesome. Tiffany, what happens if a home doesn't sell right away?
Oh, that's a great question. So for our two different loan programs that we have currently, one of them, there's 6 months, no payments. After the 6-month period, they would start making payments on a 15-year amortization, right? So as long as the property is on the market, then they just keep making their payments after that 6 months, right? The other product we have, the secured product, that one is 12 months, no payments. And then after the 12 months, it goes to an interest-only payment for the next 12 months. And then the home has to be either refinanced or paid off at that time, the loan does. So there's 24 months and there's 15 years, right, of time for us to get this all, get it sold. If for some reason they pull it off the market, we have different, ways of handling that, but basically we're not going to put them in a bad position. So either of those programs, they have some time to figure things out if the property does sit a little bit longer. And that is happening. I mean, we're seeing properties sit for months in some areas. So we definitely want to make sure that we have the opportunity for them to delay, especially with the secured program with 12 months, no payments. I mean, that one, they've got quite a bit of time, and then they've got another 12 months on top of that with just the interest only. So a lot of different options for them.
This one is for Celeste. What types of projects or repairs tend to deliver the best ROI when financed?
Yeah, I think actually one of your slides actually mentioned that, but we're seeing obviously, the same thing that we've seen in the past, a lot of kitchen, bathroom improvements, and refreshments. Roof repairs are really big right now, as well as curb appeal improvements. So the exterior of the properties that we're seeing a lot of that, really returning the best ROI. But, those kitchens and those bathrooms still seem to be high on the ROI list.
Awesome. And then kind of going along with that, actually, Tiffany, you can continue this one. What types of improvements are covered under funding with HouseAmp?
Yeah, so pretty much anything that's going to improve the property would be approved under either of the two programs. We do have a few more restrictions with the secured as far as what it can be used for. That one is strictly for improvements, which would be landscaping, any kind of upgrades, updates, staging that can all be used for that. The unsecured product is a little bit more flexible and can be used for things like moving expenses, to move someone into an elder care facility, different things like that. So when your client is getting ready to apply, they'll be able to kind of look through and see which one's going to work better for them. We actually are coding right now to have the two options that they can choose from. And we do have another lender coming on board very soon, probably within the next few weeks. That's another secured product. So we are continuously adding more lenders to the platform to be able to approve more and more homeowners, right? We want to make sure that we can approve as many homeowners as possible so that they can tap into this financing option.
Absolutely. We have someone asking about the credit scores and the minimum credit score a seller needs.
So for our new lender coming on board, they're going to go all the way down to 620. Our current secured lender is 650, and then the unsecured is right now at 680. We are hoping to bring that down. We just onboarded that lender, and originally we were talking about maybe doing around 640. So once we're through kind of the initial testing period, we're hoping to be able to bring that down a little bit. But definitely I think Celeste mentioned this, like it's not a hard credit pull for your client. So when they go in, they can actually go through the quick pre-approval process and they can see if they would qualify without any effect on their credit. So it's just a soft credit pull. So I would encourage people to go in and do the pre-application part, find out what their credit scores are. One thing to keep in mind too is we use one credit score. A lot of lenders will take 3 credit scores and use the middle of the 3, especially if they're getting qualified for their next property. So a lot of times they think they have a specific score and they may not. So definitely have them go through that quick process, and we'll talk a little bit more about how that works when we're done here with the Q&A.
And Tiffany, I have a quick question if I can just jump in here really quickly. I know this is something that we tell our customers who are interested in HouseAmp, but are you putting the loan on their credit report, or are you just placing a lien on the property because it doesn't impact their ability to get another loan, correct?
Right, correct. So with the unsecured product, definitely we put a lien on the property. It gets paid off at close of escrow. It does not go against them because the next lender knows that that's going to be paid off at close of escrow. The unsecured product is a little bit different because it is a 15-year term. So it's not going to affect their credit because we only do a soft pull on that one, but it will show in their debt to income if they report it. Most likely it won't show on their credit report because it takes time for that, to get over to that. But it's one of those where it shouldn't affect their ability to get pre-approved for their next property at all.
Celeste, this question is for you. What is the fee for using BossCat versus sellers selecting their own vendors to make their repairs?
There is no fee for using BossCat. We do charge for the services that we provide, right? But we do give free estimates. There's not a fee for the pay at close. We're partnering with HouseAmp to provide the pay at close, and they're not charging a fee. If you are working with your own trusted network of contractors, we can definitely onboard them with BossCat. So you do get the benefits of working with BossCat as well as the pay at close option. As long as they, we do background checks on all of our pros, as well as make sure that their license and insured is applicably needed for whatever trade that they're in. So you can definitely introduce your vendors to BossCat. We can get them on our platform so you can still continue to use them, but still get the benefits of BossCat. The only fee that we charge are the fees for our services, just like, any other contractor. Another thing that we do is price match. As long as it's an apples to apples bid, we're happy to take a look at those, competing bids and offer a price match as well.
Great. I think that should help answer. Someone else asked about what does BossCat charge? So hopefully that helped answer that. But if you have an additional question on that, feel free to reach out. I have someone here asking, this is for Tiffany, how can I find out how much my client will qualify for?
So we do have the equity estimator, which we'll talk about a little bit more about when we talk about the next steps. You can plug in any address in the equity estimator, and it'll give you a rough idea of how much equity is available based on the property. Thanks, Jamie. So as you can see, there's a sample here, and it's got the address and then an estimate of value. We pull an AVM, an automated valuation method, and basically that's the value we're going to use. Estimated equity is based on public record, what loans are showing on the property, and then we estimate what they would be eligible for. Now, there is a notification there that says, hey, before you have your client apply, please know that they need at least a 650 credit score right now. Obviously, that'll go down with the next lender. Make sure that they don't have a credit freeze, because we're not going to be able to pull any information. No bankruptcies and no investment properties. So right now it's only for primary residences. So once that you determine, yeah, they should probably go in and apply, then they can go in and do that soft pre-approval and find out how much they personally would be able to qualify for, right? Because we're going to kind of pre-qualify the property, and then we have to pre-qualify the borrower. So the easiest thing to do is just do a quick look up in the equity estimator, get an idea if we think that they would match with a lender, and then have them go in and actually find out the amount that they would qualify for, because it could be different, right? Based on their debt to income ratios or different things depending on the product. So that's the easiest thing to do. And then there's a question to minimum equity or loan to value. So for the secured product especially, they have to have a 25% equity. But again, because we use the AVM method and we use, what's recorded as far as liens against the property, we don't want you to try and pre-qualify people based on what you think their loan to value is, right? So go into the equity estimator and you'll be able to see that and be able to determine it based on that property itself.
Awesome. This one kind of goes along with that. How do your rates compare to equity loans from banks?
Yeah, so we get that question a lot. Why wouldn't my customer just go and get a HELOC at their local bank or credit union? Great question. Those usually do have a little bit better rates as far as, they're a long-term finance vehicle. So most banks and credit unions, they don't make money on a HELOC for the first 3 years. So if they find out that your seller is selling, they are probably going to decline the loan. The other part of that is there may be a prepayment penalty if they don't keep it for a certain amount of time. So this is a short-term financing vehicle, and it's actually very affordable. So if someone borrows $25,000, they'll usually pay back about $27,000. So there's origination fee that comes right off the top of the loan amount, and then there's interest that accrues on what they borrow each month. So they borrow $50,000, month one, they only use 10, they only access 10 of it. They're only going to pay interest on that 10. And the interest rates are anywhere from 12.99 to 17.99 APR. So that's an annualized interest rate. They're not going to pay, 12 or 13% each month. So it's very inexpensive. And again, the average person keeps this loan for about 4.5 months. So the amount that they're paying in interest is usually pretty minimal. And so on our one product, it's a 1.99% origination fee. So basically, if they borrow $10,000, we take $199 off the top and the rest is available for them. So the other thing I want to say is we're going to talk next about what's the process, but just to let you guys all know, you don't need to know every detail about this program by any means. We have some really great marketing materials and we have a great support team and we're all here to help you. So I don't want you to think, oh my goodness, I'm not going to talk about this to my client because there's all these different details. There are a lot of details. It is lending, but we definitely want to make sure that you feel comfortable enough to access the information you need or access our team to be able to help you with that. All right,
last one on the list. Sorry, one more. For Celeste, does the 1-year warranty transfer to the buyer?
Yes, it does. So it stays with the home. We actually like to look at the home as our client, right? So we want to be with the home from one buyer to the next. So yes, it does, which is a really great benefit when you're listing the home, for sure.
That's awesome. Very cool. All right. So what's next? How we get started? So first of all, you as the agent want to go in and create your free HouseAmp account. We're going to have a QR code on the next slide, or you can go to houseamp.com and go ahead and sign up. And again, go in there, use the equity estimator, try it out. It's not only a great listing tool, listing prep tool, it's also a great prospecting tool. So if you go in and you see an expired listing, the best thing you can do is look it up in the equity estimator, see if they have equity available, and then you have a reason to reach out. So you can call and say, hi, I noticed that your home didn't sell. Would you be interested in talking to me about a program where you could pay at close? And maybe we could do, a few different upgrades to get you the price you want, right? Because they want a specific price. They want a net out of this property, and you're going to come with a solution for them. So I always joke and say, rather than calling and saying, I'm a better real estate agent than your real estate agent was, you go with solutions, right? And that's what they want. They want somebody that's going to come in and advise them on how to get this property sold. So create your free account, check out the equity estimator. And then number 2, utilize the marketing materials provided for your listing presentations. So we have flyers, we have the loan scenarios next to each other, so you can compare the secured versus the unsecured product with your client. We have Service Pro invites. So if you have your preferred professionals, you want to invite them to the platform, there's some flyers in there. We even have some social media templates for you. So you can either download them as is, or you can hit customize, and it'll open them up in Canva, and you can customize them with your colors and your brand and everything so that you can post that on social media. You can do that with the flyers as well. So I just talked about this. I gave my big secret away, number 3. So use the equity estimator as a prospecting tool, right? So every time you go to a listing appointment, you should always look up the property and see if it's a conversation that you should have with your client. I would probably have it with them regardless, as long as it doesn't say for some reason that the property is not eligible, right? So use that equity estimator. It'll help you get more business. It's great for sale by owner, all kinds of different applications. The other thing, when you go ahead and create your HouseAmp account, you're going to get an individual invite link. So you could put that on your marketing materials, right? And if anybody goes in and creates an account, they'll be linked to you. So you'll be able to see if they go in and apply and what's going on with them and have a reason to reach out. So there's the QR code. So go ahead and scan this, get started. As I said, houseamp.com. You can also go to the website. And then here's our client support information. This is also on the website for you, but we wanted to just put it out there. support@houseamp.com. If you have a question, if you have a homeowner that has questions, if you have a service provider that has questions, they can all reach out to our support team. If they need to get routed to someone on my team, then they will route you over to us, but support@houseamp.com. Also, if you're on our website, we have a chat feature, so you can chat with our support team as well. And then there's an 877 number for you. You can give that to your clients. They'll help them walk through the application. They'll help service providers upload invoices. Everything can be done through that support line. And then my information there as well. Feel free to reach out. If you'd like a demo for your office, if you feel like you want your broker to know about this. One of the big differentiators between HouseAmp and a lot of the other companies out there that are doing similar programs is that we work with every agent at every brokerage. So if you're part of a brokerage, maybe it's a smaller brokerage, maybe it's, a brokerage that doesn't have something like this, you can still work with us. And that's not the case a lot of other times. So maybe you were at a brokerage where you had a program that was similar to this and you left. Then, you don't have that option anymore, and you know that it's something that you still want to utilize in your business, then I definitely would reach out and let us know how we can help you. Awesome. All right. And so if you have any questions for Celeste, she's going to put her contact information in the, where would we put that, Jamie?
In the Q&A is what everybody sees. So we'll throw it in the Q&A.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Oh, and then we did have a couple of other questions. What would make the property not eligible? That's a great question. So if the property, I'm trying to think of some of the things. If there's been a foreclosure in the last 7 years, the property won't be eligible, right? If there's been, and that, yeah, we'll see that on public record. So basically, if they just bought it, there might be a caveat to that. Otherwise, with our secured product, the secured product is basically a little bit more individualized as far as the equity part. So that one we can't do trusts, LLCs, different things like that right now, but the lender we have coming on board will. So if you go in today and it's in an LLC, it'll probably get directed to our unsecured product. But with the unsecured product, a human has to apply with a credit score. So if it's an LLC, then whoever the owner of the LLC is, you have to apply. So it just kind of depends on, the lender, right? Because we do have multiple lenders on the platform, and some of them specialize in specific types of loans and others do. So we kind of try and mesh them together so we can cover as many people as possible. And our new lender, like I said, they're coming in hopefully in a couple of weeks. We're just waiting for the last few things to roll them out. And so stay tuned and go in and look at the marketing stuff too. Once you sign up for an account on HouseAmp.com or through the QR code, you're going to get a monthly newsletter from us that has updates. So as soon as that new lender is available, we will roll that out in the newsletter. We'll have, different information that comes out, but make sure you sign up for your account so that you can get that information. We are also available in 48 states, so everything but Alaska and Hawaii today. So make sure that you get signed up so you can get all the notifications of anything that changes. Awesome. All right, so we are having another webinar next month, marketing for more listings with pre-sale financing. So we're going to go a little bit deeper into the marketing aspect and give you guys some ideas for how you can use this to generate more business. So I gave you a few tips on this call, but definitely register for that. Join us again. And then if you have any questions, feel free to reach out after this. We will be sending out the recording where you can see me call Jamie Molly. And relive all the fun things that we've had today. But yeah, we really appreciate you all being here. We think this is a really important topic. We want to bring you tools to help you, navigate as the market continues to change. And we're working with buyers who are more and more selective and more inventory, which a lot of us are not used to. I live in the Phoenix metro area, and we were used to just throwing it on the market and getting 70 offers day one. So I'm sure some of you have experienced that as well. So join us next month. Feel free to follow up with any questions you have, and we hope to see you all there.